What is going on, peasants? My name is JB and I am back here today with yet another new video. This time we are going to be back on Tier Maker and we are going to be talking about the Unite moves inside of Pokemon Unite. We're going to, talk about each Pokemon's Unite move specifically and which one we think is the best, how good we think they are, and see what, general consensus is on the Unite moves inside of the game. So first and foremost, this is Aura Cannon, Lucario's Unite move. Lucario, one of the absolute best Pokemon in the game. Thankfully, it does not have the Unite move to match up to the rest of that. If this thing had a broken Unite move, it would be just too much. It's already way too good. Thankfully, its Unite move is nothing special. Basically, you guys all know what it is. It's the big Kamehameha where Lucario just shoots a big ball of energy. And it's okay. It's good for stealing objectives. It's good if you see an opponent in a big cluster. It's really just good to throw into like the what's it called, the Dreadnought pit. It's really good to just throw into Zapdos pit too if you have it. It just does a lot of damage in moments like that. It's okay if you see like an enemy team pushing down a lane or something. It's decent for that. Other than that, the main thing you're going to be using it for is to get your power up punch boost as well as your extreme speed resets. So that's what the main draw of it is, but it's decent enough at being able to steal objectives and just deal a lot of damage on teams that are grouped up. So with that being said, I think it's a solid B tier. I don't think it's anything special, but I don't think it's bad either. So we'll throw it in B tier for now with the potential, easy for me to say, with the potential to move it around. I'm not going to rank them within the tiers, so just know. You guys are also going to be seeing screenshots pop up, giving you an exact detail of what they do. Getting that information from unitedb.com. I'll leave that in the description if you don't know about it. Great resource to just learn everything about the game. It has literally everything you can need to know about Unite. So I'll leave that in the description if you want to, dive into some Unite nerdiness. Next up, we have Machamp, which is Barrage below. So gives you a big increase to your attack, defense, and movement speed. So very solid indeed. And it also basically gives you a really good execute as well with its secondary effect. If you activate it again, it basically is just, it acts as a boosted close combat. So if you use close combat on Machamp, it's basically the same thing, just bigger and better. It's also pretty good for stealing objectives, same with Lucario, and the buffs that it gives you are pretty significant. It does make you just kind of even more of an absolute unit than Machamp already is. So with that being said, I think it's, I don't know if it's A tier, but I think it's better than Lucario's. So we will rank them, I guess, within the tiers a little bit. I don't think Machamp's is worthy of A tier, but I do think it is significantly better than Lucario's, but I don't think Lucario's is bad enough for C tier. So we'll just do that for now. How about that? We'll rank them slightly within tiers. How about that? Next up, oh my god. Until this thing gets nerfed, there's no other place to put Greedent's Unite move, Berry Belly Flop. I'm sure you guys have seen the clips of this thing just absolutely shredding Dreadnoughts in like seconds, and Zapdos is even just in seconds. It's just stupid. Absolutely needs a nerf, and until it gets nerfed, it belongs in S tier. So we're gonna leave it there and move on. Next up, we have Cinderace, another really solid Unite move. Gives you basically just a giant ball of flame, and it does more damage if you have Cinderace's passive active, on the enemies. So you've landed a Power Ball, Blaze Kick, whatever. You're basically, if the opponent's burned, it does more damage. So it's pretty solid. Another really good move for stealing objectives, whether that be Dreadnought or Zapdos or Rotom even. And it's also pretty good at just killing a weakened enemy. So it's a decent move, not the best, not the worst. I do think it is better than everything we've talked about so far. I'm gonna put it in A tier. We'll leave it there. I gotta stop saying not the best, not the worst. I say that a lot when I do these. I'm gonna try to not do that. I'm really good at repeating myself and repeating the same phrases. I'm gonna try not to. Next up, Blissey. I love Blissey's Unite move. It is called Bliss Assistance. Basically, you dash towards a designated ally, so it's really good for escape as well. That's an underrated point of this. And it gives your ally a shield and attack and special attack buff for a decent amount of time. You also intercept a decent amount of damage that is, being targeted at the target of your Unite move is a way to word that. It's just a huge buff, and if you run it with Buddy Berry, which you should be if you're running Blissey, it's just an even bigger buff for your friends. It's fantastic. It just basically makes whoever you use it on the most powerful thing on the field for a little bit. So I'm a big fan of Blissey Unite. I personally would put it borderline S tier. Borderline S tier. As a support ult, I think it's probably I'm having a hard time putting it in S tier, but I think it's better than Cinderace. So again, we'll rank them within the tiers somewhat. So we'll put it there for now. I think it's probably an S tier ability, but we'll leave it A for now. Very, very top of A. You know what now I'm doing? I'm putting Blissey in S. I'm putting Blissey in S just because I play a lot of Blissey and I like it a lot. Next up, we got ourselves Cotton Cloud Crash from Eldegoss. Float in the air and become invincible. If used again, pound the ground, attacking the enemies and restoring HP to allies in the radius. Another great Unite move. It is also fantastic for stealing objectives. It's so good at just, you know, floating in, dealing the last hit on a Dreadnought, and potentially even a Zapdos, and just winning games like that. It's very good also, you know, being both passive and I guess offensive, in that it heals you and does damage to the opponents. Great Unite move. Gonna put an A tier as well. I don't think there's a bad support Unite move in this game. I think they're all probably A to S tier if I had to, you know, think about it before actually, you know, going over it. But yeah, we'll go with that for now. Next up, I believe this is Gardevoir. Let me check on the DB. No, that is not. What is this? Is that Sylveon? I think that might be Sylveon. I don't know the things. This is Sylveon. So we have Fairy Frolic here. Jump into the air and become briefly invincible. The moment Sylveon lands, deal damage to enemies in an area of effect and restore Sylveon's HP for 10 seconds. 50% of the damage dealt by Sylveon is converted into HP. Basic attacks are excluded. So, don't know why I decided to read that one, but I did. This move is extremely underwhelming in game. It has a great description, but the fact that you can only get HP back when you land your abilities is kind of rough. It's good, I guess. Yeah, it's obviously a good, you know, thing to have, but it's not. It just feels underwhelming. It doesn't do a lot of damage, but the, you know, recovery is nice. You got to make sure you have your Hyper Voice or your Mystical Fire up before doing it. If you're still running Draining Kiss on Sylveon, what are you doing? Calm Mind is just way too good in my opinion, but it's not bad. If it worked on your basic attacks, it'd be better. I think this is I think this is the worst Unite move we talked about so far. I don't think it's bad. If its damage were higher, it would be broken. We'll put it in C tier. I think it's high C tier. I think it's significantly worse, especially offensively, than the two above it, because it seems like it'd be good for stealing objectives, but it just doesn't do enough damage, even, you know, to a very, very weak Dreadnought. You have to time it so perfectly to steal a Dread. So we're gonna put it in C for now. This is Gardevoir's, so we'll talk about this. So Gardevoir, not in the best place at the moment. It does a lot of damage, but it just takes so long to get going that it's just sometimes not worth it. There are just so many games where you can't even get to level 10 before like the very end of the game, and it's just, what are you doing the whole game? You kind of just hurting your team. But this is a fantastic Unite move. Like I said when I released my Gardevoir video, you know, a few weeks back, I love any ultimate that pulls stuff together, or any move in any video game. I played a ton of Zarya in Overwatch, so I love you know, moves like this. I just wish the pull effect was a little bit longer. If it was a little bit longer, you kind of justify you know, Gardevoir coming online so late if its Unite move were better. However, I think just the fact that you can easily escape it, and it only lasts for a very, very short amount of time, it doesn't really allow you to combo it as much as you should be able to combo an ability like this in other, you know, MOBAs, or, you know, even in Overwatch. The effects last a lot longer. Still escapable, but if you know, maybe you don't have your cooldowns available, or maybe you don't have your eject button, you know, you shouldn't be able to escape it so easily or so quickly, in my opinion. But it's still fairly solid. I'm gonna put it in C though. I don't think it's great. I think it's really good if you're playing with a team and they can actually combo with it. But by yourself, it's really hard to actually land your Psyshock inside of it and do as much damage as you really need to. Sometimes you can do it. I've done it a few times. I've gotten a few, you know, multi-kills that way, but it's very few and far between when you're able to actually land a good Gardevoir Unite move. Next up, we have Talonflame, one of the most underwhelming but still somehow decent Unite moves in the game. That's called Flame Sweep. Basically, you just yeet yourself into the enemy team and pull or push them with you, depending on which way you're going. It's good for repositioning enemies, and it's good for getting yourself out, but Talonflame is already really good at getting itself out trouble. Again, good, not great at picking off objectives. Honestly, I just think this thing is just a one-way trip to death, like 90% of the time. Because Buddy Barrier, while a great item on Talonflame, you're losing out on a crit item or an attack weight or something running it. So I don't think it's very good. I think it's probably a D tier Unite move. It doesn't do enough damage to justify taking it. Like Fly does significantly more damage than its Unite move, so we're just gonna put it in D tier and move on. This is, I believe, Cram. No, that's not Cram. What is this? Seems watery. Is this Cram? This is Cram. Okay, Gatling Gold Missile. Used to be borderline S tier. I think it's still pretty damn good. Cramorant becomes unstoppable and fires a series of Aracuda missiles at the nearest enemy, becoming immobile for the entire duration. Gatling Gold Missile can be canceled early, so it's pretty good. It's really solid at keeping the enemies away from an objective. It's not the best at, you know, sealing an objective. Pre-nerf, I would have put it, you know, borderline up here. Now I think it's here. I think it's low in B. I think it's still really good. It still does a decent amount of damage. It's really good at keeping people away from you. Like, it's good at helping like your teammates get out or something, or zoning. It's good at zoning. It's not great at, you know, burst damage or anything like that. We'll put it in C or B. It's fine, just nothing special. I believe this is Blastoise next, and it is. We have Hydro Typhoon. Blastoise gains a shield and sweeps a powerful water jet in a circle around itself, dealing massive damage and knocking enemies into the air. Okay, pre-nerf, you know, best ability in the game. Post-nerf, probably still borderline S tier. Still really, really good. The displacement is huge. It still does a lot of damage. I'm gonna put it at the very top of A. I think that's probably, you know, selling it a little bit short because it's still really good. But we're gonna leave it there for now. It's not as strong as Greedent is, and it's not as, you know, useful, I don't know, as Blissey, but I think it's still one of the absolute best in the game. Next up, another really good Unite move. We have Seismic. Nope, this is not. Wait, is that not Zard? What am I looking at? What is that? Oh my god, it must be something I don't play because I don't recognize that at all. Is that Chomp? That is Chomp. I play Chomp all the time. I just don't recognize the little icons. I don't. You know, who really pays attention to that stuff? And some of you can tell, some of you can't. But yeah, this is Livid Outrage. Garchomp goes berserk, taking 30% less damage and unleashing a powerful, unstoppable chain attack. Garchomp dashes and deals damage and designated blah, 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 blah. Much like everything else on Garchomp, this is extremely underwhelming. It's really good to just yeet yourself into a lot of enemies and do a lot of damage. Obviously, getting the damage reduction is good. If you're not running a buddy barrier on Garchomp, then you probably shouldn't be running Garchomp. I mean, you can run full crit Garchomp and it's not bad. But the thing with this is, much like Garchomp in general, it's just, you know, too little too late a lot of times. Because Garchomp is one of the hardest Pokemon to get leveled in the game. Oh man, I love it so much though. It's my favorite Pokemon to play, if I'm being perfectly honest with myself. I love Garchomp so much. It's just, I don't know. It's not good for sling objectives, and I have experience with Garchomp having the worst internet in the world and now having fantastic internet. It's still really hard to aim a lot of times. Ah, man. I think we gotta go D tier. I think it's better than Talonflame's Unite move, but it's not, you know, it doesn't have the potential of either of the things above it, so yeah, it's just bad. It's bad. It's pretty bad. As much as I love Garchomp, it's bad. Next up, another pretty bad Unite move. We have Mamoswine. So Mammoth Mash, okay. Jumps into a designated location, becomes immune to hindrances. Not bad. Stomps the ground, dealing damage to enemies in the area of effect, and decreases their movement speed for a short time with each stomp. The final stomp throws enemies in the air. The damage on this is so unbelievably low, it's not even funny. That's just kind of Mamoswine in a nutshell, though. Mamoswine's damage is kind of pathetic if we're thinking about it. And that's, you know, really weird coming from like a, you know, main Pokemon game player where Mamoswine literally just gets a kill with tackle. Like, that's how just powerful Mamoswine is. In this game though, kind of feels like you're just slapping someone with a wet pool noodle most of the time. Like, Mamoswine just is not that strong. Neither is his Unite move. It's good for slowing, decent for stealing. I think it fits right in line with Sylveon and Gardevoir. I think it's very comparable actually to Sylveon, where yeah, it's decent, but you're not really going to be doing anything with it. Like, you're not really picking off an enemy with it. You're not really, you know, crowd controlling all that well with it. I mean, it's okay. Not the worst thing in the world. You're not using Mamoswine for its Unite move. You're using Mamoswine for its crowd control, and it's, you know, decent at that. So I guess decent and move on. Oh boy, another one that I just don't know. That's not Mr. Mime. What the hell? I think that's Ninetales probably. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out when I click on it. Is that Ninetales? No, that is not Ninetales. Man, I am embarrassing myself. Slowbro maybe? Nope. What are you? This Absol? This is Absol. Okay, Midnight Slash. Unleash a flurry of slashes in front of Absol and become untargetable. This move ends by unleashing powerful blades of energy, dealing increased damage and shoving enemies. Okay. I love Absol. Its Unite move is good sometimes. Like, it's really comboable with Sucker Punch, which doesn't make sense because Sucker Punch is bad, but it's pretty comboable with that. You can Sucker Punch in, you know, guarantee the hit, and then just Unite move in as well. Good at sailing. I think it's on par with B tier. I think it's, you know, significantly better than C and D, not anywhere near anything above it, and, you know, pretty on par with the things. Yeah, I think B tier is fine for that. Gengar, oh boy. Okay, so the main draw of Gengar is okay, it's called Phantom Ambush, by the way. Jump to a designated area and start sneaking. Gain increased movement speed, become invisible, and next basic attack is boosted. Moves can be used while invisible, but they bring you above ground, so basically you're just underground for a while, man. And if you use it again, you can do damage to enemies. It's decent. It's a decent burst damage, like assassinate move. That's really all it is. Like, it's a good escape. Like, it's okay. If you time it well, it can still an objective, but mostly you're just using it to pick off a weakened target or run. And even then, like, you'd probably just be better off Shadow Ball comboing into something with Dream Eater. Like, that does significantly more damage than this, but it's okay. I think C tier's fine. I think C tier's perfectly reasonable. Next up, we have Zeraora. I know this one. I don't have to double check it. This is Plasma Gale. I almost said Phantom again because I'm not a smart human being. Launches a bolt of lightning that travels towards the enemy, dealing it damage in an area of effect and knocking all the air. Blah 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 blah. This is really good. It's really good. It is very good. So basically, you volt switch in, you night move something, and you discharge, and everything dies. It is fantastic at just lining up multi kills. It's a great execute. Just yeah. What else is there to say? Borderline S tier probably. Nah, it's not borderline S tier. I think it's on par with everything here. I think it's probably slightly better than Cinderace's. But yeah, we'll put it in A tier for now. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but when I say for now, that's just where it's gonna be because I'm going back through this, honestly. All right, this is Snorlax. This is Snorlax's Unite move, Power Nap. Go to sleep, and basically you deal damage in a big circle, and you don't die. Basically, if you're getting anything close to dying as Snorlax, you're probably out of position in the first place, and your Unite move just bails you out, especially late game. So it's okay. Not the best, not the worst. You know the old adage. I feel like, I don't know, dude. I like it a lot, but it's fine. Nothing crazy. Put it in B tier. Put it in B tier. It's good. It's good. Next up, we got ourselves Crustle, and Crustle. Oh man, my former flame. I've been playing Crustle a little bit more lately because I'm starting to actually like it again. I just had to get away from it after how much I played it the first like few days of launch. After launch, like bruh, I played way too much Crustle. Anyway, gives you a gigantic shield and HP buff. Like, it's ridiculous, and it does do some decent damage nearby as well. So it's okay. It's really good at just you know, popping, getting a huge shield, and just dunking. Like, you can win games late if you have your Unite move and just dunk in faces. Like Score Shield Crustle on top of its Unite move, because it does stack with Score Shield. Its Unite move does. So yeah, it's basically an unstoppable score machine. Like, for those of you who don't know, Crustle, a defender, is actually the best speedster in the game. So its Unite move can single-handedly win games if used properly. And in the right scenario, obviously. Like, you know, if you just dunk 50 at the end of the game, like, it's really good at doing stuff like that. And you know, it's also decent for just running in and stealing objectives. Crustle's pretty damn good, man. I can't lie. I'll put it in A tier just because of how much of a buff it gives Crustle. I'll put it in A tier. I think that's fine. Now this is Charizard. We talked about it earlier. I think Charizard's Unite move is one of the best in the game, personally. As a Charizard man with a hovering around 65% win rate, something like that. Basically, you grab an opponent and slam it into the ground, and then you just become an auto attack machine. Charizard's auto attack is already one of the best in the game. It just burns everything, does a lot of damage, and you recover HP while you're dealing your auto attack. Like, bro, it's really good. I think Charizard's Unite move is genuinely one of the best in the game. Charizard, not the best Pokemon in the game by any means, but it has a phenomenal Unite move. Good at everything, good execute, good for sailing, good for dealing a ton of damage to a group. It's phenomenal. Absolutely fan freaking fantastic. Next up, we got Mr. Mime Showtime. Leap in a circle, or leap forward and deal damage to enemies, stunning them as well. Does 4 takes of damage, and the final hit deals double damage. Really good for stealing objectives, and really good for just running into a group and, you know, just dealing a lot of damage, man. It's pretty solid. Can't complain about it. I think it's probably like somewhere in here. I think it's probably I don't think it's, yeah, it's better than everything in B tier right now. I think Snorlax needs to move up if we're ranking them within tiers. I think Snorlax should move up in that tier. I think Absol probably should as well. Move up 1. I think it's, yeah, that looks a little bit better to me. Not that I thought we're doing that, but we're doing that. All right, next up we got Slowbro. Slow beam, stare at an enemy and attack continuously, dealing damage and rooting them, grants a shield and HP, makes the user immune to hindrances. So basically you just grab an enemy. It's basically buffed, what's it called? Telekinesis that does damage. It's alright. It's really good if you're playing with a group and someone can combo and just destroy whatever you're holding. Otherwise, I mean, I don't know, it's whatever. Like, it's okay against a weakened target. Man, Slowbro, I feel like I don't think there's a single Pokemon that relies more on its teammates than Slowbro. I think Slowbro is probably the worst solo queue character in the game currently. So if you're playing solo queue, like, easily D tier. If you're playing with a friend, if you're playing with a group, it's probably someone here. I'll put it at the top of C tier. Just, you know, balancing it out between being the worst in the game and being good if you're playing with a group. So we'll put it in C tier for now. I think that's fine. This will be young Ninetales Snow Globe. Attacks with a chilly blast of snow and ice, dealing damage to enemies in the area of effect around Ninetales. When it hits, deals increased damage to enemies that are frozen. Really solid. Good to just pop in a big group and deal a lot of damage. Ninetales is already an auto attack machine, especially if you're running the Aurora set. So, you know, just freezing everything and dealing just a lot of damage. Ninetales loves doing that. Another move that's just really good to pop in a group. I don't think it's anything special though. I don't think it's up here anywhere. I think it's probably somewhere in this range. I think it's fine. It's nothing crazy, but it's fine. Next up, we got Wiggly friggin' Tough. Starlight Recital. Begin performing a recital, gathering Wigglytuff and nearby allies, granting Wigglytuff and nearby allies a shield, as well as removing all status conditions from the affected allies and granting them immunity to hindrances for a short time. Basically, everyone on your team gets a big shield and becomes unstoppable. Well, not technically unstoppable, but kind of unstoppable, you know what I mean? Freaking phenomenal ability. And if you don't know, if you're playing the Halloween event and you're struggling, great, you know, character to choose. Wigglytuff is just great all around. So is Blissey for that, by the way. If you're struggling in the Halloween event, just run Blissey, Safeguard, and yeah, you'll win. Safeguard, Helping Hand, you know, it heals the pumpkins and you're fine. Anyway, I think Starlight Recital is borderline S tier. I'm going to put it at the top of A. I just don't think it's as good as Blissey at the end of the day. I think Blissey's is just better, but we'll put it actually, yeah, we'll put it in S tier just based on the fact that it hits the whole team, right? Whereas Blissey's only hits one target. So we'll do that. I think that's fair. All right, next up, we got Pikachu. Pikachu is one of my favorite characters to play because it's just really fun. It's really, really weak even after the buff, but yeah, we got Thunderstorm here. 4 bolts of lightning strike 4 times over 3 seconds. The first strike hits all enemies within the radius, and the next 2 strikes hit a random enemy within the radius. It's not good. It's not good. If it did more damage, it'd be really good. Like, you know, buff Pikachu's Unite move. I think Pikachu could be in a decent place. It gets its Unite move a lot. It just feels like a tickle most of the time. If, you know, you're using it on one person, it's decent, but if you have to use it against a group, it's really bad, especially because you can't, you know, target who you're hitting. Yeah, it's pretty bad as it currently is, so we'll put it down here. It's not as bad as, you know, it's pretty bad. It's pretty dog shit. All right, next up we got Venu. I mean, it's a Venusaur, so S tier, right? Obviously. Venusaur hurls a massive seed to the designated location, damaging all enemies in the radius. The seed then splits apart into 4 smaller seeds, damaging all enemies in their radius. It's fantastic. It's great for, you know, stealing objectives. It's great for just getting a kill, and it's also great for just dealing massive amounts of damage to a group of enemies. It's freaking so good. I don't think it's S tier. I don't think it's on par with Zard or Greedent, obviously, in terms of attackers. Or, well, I mean, Greedent's an attacker at this point. I think high A tier is fine. And then last and certainly not least, well, maybe least, if you ask you, the Costa Rican, probably least, but we have a Water Burst Shuriken from Greninja. Throw a giant Shuriken towards a designated area, dealing damage to the enemies in the area of effect and decreasing their movement speed for a short time. When the move hits, the Water Shuriken then immediately explodes, dealing damage to enemies in the area, and then throws them into the air. Once this move ends, Greninja may jump in a designated direction. It's okay. It's good for stealing. That's kind of it. You don't get a shield, you don't get anything from it, like you don't get any boost. You just kind of you know, kamikaze yourself into a group of enemies a lot of times. It's good for a one-on-one duel, and it's good for stealing objectives at like late game. It's really good to just throw into the Zapdos pit, but leaves a lot to be desired. We'll put it in C tier. I think it's pretty bad just because you're even more of a sitting duck than Talonflame in a lot of ways, but it's better than Talonflame in the fact that it actually does damage. So we'll leave it there, and that's gonna be my list. Let me know what you guys think. Please roast me in the comments down below. Tell me how bad I am, tell me how stupid I am, and tell me how much smarter you are than me. I'm here for it, man. That's what I live for. Okay. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.